Hello, Star Wars. The audio on this one is absolute garbage, and if I didn't have a really awesome episode as far as the gameplay and reaction goes, I probably wouldn't release it. But just be warned, you're going to hear analog stick clicks and low quality audio, and I promise the next time I record will be set up with a much more professional mic setup, and I'm so sorry. So if you don't like listening to crunchy audio, please give this one a skip. But if that's not a huge deal breaker for you, this is a pretty fun little episode for you. Thanks. May the force be with you. Hello, Star Wars! Back again recording some delightful background footage. A few things more engaging than a starfighter fight. Yet again, you'll hear me raving about the quality of the overworld in this game. Right now, I just hopped over to the planet Yavin because I knew there would be a space battle going on. Now, I don't know if the space battle is currently happening because I haven't cleared it yet, and if I clear it, it will never be here again, but the last story mission, the last mainline episodic movie that I played was one of the sequels. So I'm really not sure exactly what triggers these yet. I mean, if it isn't already obvious, I have several hours in these games. I mean, several. I have last Steam reading, I think about 69 or 70 hours in the game, and yet I feel like I've only barely started to scratch the surface, which is a fantastic feeling. I mean, so many games leave you with very little after the main line, maybe a simple new game plus, but I mean, this game, it feels like you really get out what you put in. It's fantastic. And I feel like, for some of the topics that you may have already heard me discuss, or unless you're only here for Let's Plays, which is fantastic, for many of the topics I discuss, it's a little more general. With the Jar Jar Ahmed Best video, it's pretty Jar Jar specific, I'd say, so that was pretty easy to script a little bit of a background video for. But these space battles can be a little bit more generic. Something we're talking about Star Wars more in general. Especially just a second point, really coming off of I've spent a lot of time playing Ace Combat games, very classic arcade style fighter jet simulator. Definitely nothing like a realistic fighter jet simulator. Someone once described that Ace Combat feels like when you have a toy of a fighter jet and you're making it do insane flips that are in absolutely no way possible or would send your pilot into a complete blackout. But after playing so many of those arcade-style fighter jet games, not only does this Lego Star Wars game handle a lot of the same controls, but it's a very parts of this game again. So much to this game. Parts of this game really feel like a fantastic fighter jet or, classic arcade space fighter simulator. And it's really not something I was prepared for, and it's fantastic. I mean, you could spend, and I have spent entire hours just doing space fighter missions, and just like this, just enjoying a little bit of blasting TIE fighters. Oh, and wow. This is new. This is something I have not seen. Oh, I was actually going to mention this. This is the first time I have ever seen a capital ship show up. Oh my god, this is fantastic. I can't believe we're getting this on camera. I was looking up, again, I've completed so much. I've played so much of this game. I've put, nearly 100 hours in. God, this is weird shooting X-Wings. I've played so much of this game, and yet still having to look up basic things like capital ships. Never really engaged with them, just doing the mainline story quests. Story quests being the main movies. So I really had to look up what the heck capital ships operate like in this game. So this is the first time I've ever interacted with it. It's really an interesting mechanic. Definitely nothing like I've ever seen. And the fact that I could seize Home 1, this is fantastic. This is certainly going to be a very good background video. So I read a little bit about this. This is going to be really fascinating to go in blind. I get a live reaction. Just a side note while I'm here, if it doesn't take me immediately away. God, Fighting Rebellion, I guess, might have changed characters and fit the theme if we're going to be fighting against the Rebel Alliance. Just a side note, I wanted to make sure to play, I believe it's Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter here, because I actually have this one in LEGO. It's one of my favorite of my own LEGO collection, and much like the Ace Combat analogy of playing with your toys in a, it really feels like you're picking up your Lego and spinning it around the room and imagining you're shooting jets and proton torpedoes, so it's fantastic to see it in the game. But I guess we're going to have to change characters here to someone a bit more fitting for a takeover of Home 1. Seems like we might have to do a little bit of alternate history and imagine that Admiral THRAWN did not get whisked away by space whales to the Peridia sector beyond the known galaxy at the Battle of... Oh, shoot. It's escaping me now. The battle at the end of Star Wars Rebels. Fantastic bit of Star Wars. Really a fantastic ending to a fantastic show. So much will and can needs to be said about how just phenomenal Rebels is and was, and as we've seen with the impact and so much of Ahsoka, the TV show of Ahsoka, being based around Star Wars Rebels characters, and so the legacy of Rebels really will continue to be felt. I'm not really sure at this point. I feel like I'm just going to speed run through it and do a lot less of the breaking of blocks. I hope I'm not missing anything. As is can be seen very, very small up here by the stud counter, I have previously unlocked the stud multipliers that have, I believe I have 2, 4, and 6 unlocked so far, which apparently stack up to 48 times. So one stud counts for 48 studs, 1,000 stud, purple stud, counts for 48,000, which is how I'm able to get up that stud count so high recently. I also have unlocked in this game, which has made it so useful, and another thing I found from doing a bit of research on this game about midway through, is being able to activate the collectible finder. So if there were a collectible mini kit over there beyond this impassable wall, it would be highlighted in blue, which is a little overwhelming sometimes when you go to, let's say, Coruscant, and you've got a fantastic array of blue lights all around you, but it really makes it easy, and some might say too easy, but I enjoy a relaxing game experience. It makes it a lot easier to, let's say we were just back in that room, I could move on with peace of mind, knowing that I'm not leaving behind any mini kits or collectibles or data cards that could not be otherwise found. So it's really worth it to do a tiny bit of research, the very briefest of Googling, to really get the most out of the game. Not that you're going to be missing anything. So much to this game is really enjoyable at any level, at any experience level, at any what you get out what you give. You get out what you give to this game, and if you want to do a ton of research and really tap into what a lot of other players have discovered their best, most enjoyable playing experience through trial and error on their own end, learning from other people's mistakes, then that path is there for you. If you want to really just have a fun time and just do the story missions and enjoy Lego Star Wars in a more pure sense, without reading anything about it, then that is a viable path too. I'm not sure, this might be a little bit of a janky controller I'm using, I'm not sure if this slow walk animation for THRAWN, that is a fantastic saunter, I'm not sure if this, where I'm trying to run and it reverts back to his more sauntery walk. I'm not sure, that might be a janky controller I'm using. But I'm going to stick with this character because I paid $3.99 of my hard-earned money to gain the credible right to blast anyone and everyone with the blue-skinned Chiss Admiral THRAWN. Grand Admiral THRAWN, really, if you want to use his correct Imperial rank. I think I have yet to read really any Star Wars novels. It's definitely something on my list. It's probably not anytime soon, but starting with the original THRAWN trilogy, where Timothy Zahn, the author, actually introduced THRAWN into the Star Wars universe, but it is, from an outside perspective, phenomenal to see a character from novelization be so completely welcomed and appreciated, and to have his place in Star Wars, as was set up in the novels, truly not only respected, but truly made to be part of the... I mean, he's a big bad threat. He is one of the top threats of the Star Wars universe. And it's fantastic that he didn't just come from, George Lucas at one time. He didn't come from Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau or Simon Kinberg, the awesome showrunners and creative directors who have brought us Star Wars. He came from an author who at the time, I need to check the dates of when this came out, but who at the time was really just trying to fill in the Star Wars Legends storyline. It's fantastic. I love it, and it's a really great character to dive deeper into. And purely the fact that when you say THRAWN trilogy of books, there's multiple different THRAWN series of books. I think there's two THRAWN trilogies and a different THRAWN duology, which is like eight books on its own, simple. Just a quick read, of course. It really shows how Star Wars fans and Star Wars creative decision makers appreciate, and there's a lot of money and interest and eyes who want to learn more about Admiral THRAWN, and I really have only seen what's in Rebels and Ahsoka, but I can't wait to find more about his character. He's not exactly Frogger, but it is a fun shake-up mini-game every once in a while when you're playing as a protocol droid. Of course, Captain ForcePositive. Of course, entering the splash zone. This is a really interesting dynamic to have the... Oh, we're locked in. It's a really interesting dynamic to have the Rebel Alliance members be enemy characters, and to have them, be marked in red, and it's a little bit off-putting. I don't know if I can just get away with him targeting a secondary character. But I mean, another interesting question for the timeline. At one point, is this Home One, the very famous Rebel Alliance capital ship, the cream of the crop as far as the Rebel Alliance cruisers, the Mon Calamari cruiser, the very famous Home One. At one point, is this a canon event? Is it good old Captain ForcePositive Did he really gain control of Home One? Was he running it like a bandit? So many questions. But I feel like of any fandom, of any franchise, a semi-canon appearance in a Lego Star Wars video game would end up not only likely on Wikipedia, but it would end up being an appreciated part of canon and end up on some iceberg YouTube video. Let's see. I mean, truly fantastic. It really feels like this location really feels like the Yoda and Emperor Palpatine battle in the Senate chambers back on Coruscant. Really, with the importance, the central the chairs, the importance to the original trilogy that Home One really represents. I guess that's sees the Home One encounter complete. So I guess that's mine. This is pretty crazy. I would absolutely love to buy this capital ship, and I'm very glad I have enough money. So I guess Admiral Thrawn is now in control of Home One. Wow. Wow, this is fantastic. I really just took control of Home One. Wow. And, you know, just in time for the holiday season, I heard news recently that Home One is going to be rendered in Lego form in the desktop diorama, the sort of very, not micro scale, but certainly not Ultimate Collectors, the Ultimate Collectors series, mega scale. Lego for the past couple years has been doing a fantastic desktop series of maybe 12-inch, 14-inch renditions of very famous ships from Star Wars. I think the most recent one at this point of recording was the Invisible Hand, the CIS separatist ship. I think went down over the Battle of Coruscant, if memory serves. That might have been a different CIS capital ship. But rumor is they're going to be rendering Home One in that same series of desktop dioramas. I think I might call it here, or call it very soon. Why don't I just get this Kyber brick? Sorry. This is a great example of what I was mentioning earlier. I have the collector tracker booster on, where over in this machinery here, there is some sort of mini kit, or at this point, most likely a Kyber brick. And over here, you can clearly see a Kyber brick. Yeah, this is definitely a janky controller. I need to not use this one or swap it out. Over here, you can see this Kyber brick hiding right behind this wall, illuminated by that distinctive blue ring that you can see through the walls, like it's Left 4 Dead 2, which really makes things super useful as far as a completionist perspective. But I'm going to get this Kyber brick and call it here. If you end up seeing this footage for background in a different video, it would be fantastic if you want to comment or shout it out or like the video or somehow engage with the algorithm. Home 1, 2, 3 times a laser field. I'm not going to sing it for you, but that is a delightful little reference. And we are just over a quarter of the way through collecting every single Kyber brick. And I think this has been a fantastic way to end. I really did not expect Grand Admiral Thrawn to conquer Home 1 in this delightful piece of Star Wars alternate history. So, I'm going to call it here, log off for the night. I am ForcePositive. I'm going to provide positive perspectives on Star Wars with a little gameplay let's play in between. May the Force be with you.